Data storytelling should change the world, but in doing so, it needs to benefit, be fair, do no harm, and increase the trust and freedom of the people. Let us explore these ethical principles with, what else? A story. Alina and Marcus are environmental activists. They study how human-animal interactions in national parks may lead to harming both animals and people. Their goal is to educate the visitors who forget to keep their distance from the animals. To change such behavior, the activists decided to collect data about such encounters and relate it to data about human or animal injuries. They found that in areas where more people get closer to the animals, more people and animals get injured. They also found that young, out-of-state, male tourists were more likely to get in this type of situation. They disseminated their findings as an interactive web map that displayed the dangerous hotspots with scientific accuracy. Each hotspot increased in size with severity and also showed the funniest non-lethal encounters between humans and animals. Alina and Marcus collected the data from a mix of security surveillance video feeds and video guestbooks, all found in the public domain. The video feeds are usually employed to detect vandalism, theft, or other imminent dangers, while the guestbooks found that each attraction collected information in the form of video recordings. Alina and Marcus matched the images on the surveillance cameras with those collected by the video guestbooks, using hometown, face, and accent recognition to identify the state. Data about state of origin and severity of encounters was reflected on the map. Probably this scenario already rang some bells to you. This sounds invasive. It is an overreach, privacy violation. And you might be right about this too, only that these should not be your only concerns. Something should be done to stop people from approaching animals, putting themselves and the poor creatures in danger. Can we help design a more ethical research and intervention project, starting from the same idea? Of course we can, with the help of the ethical reasoning matrix presented in the first chapter of the volume Ethical Reasoning in Big Data. The matrix proposes that ethical choices need to take into account several, not only one value. The first, in order of importance, is that telling stories with data should benefit all. Those that learn from them, those that tell them, and most importantly, those from whom we obtain the data. This is the Beneficence Criteria. But is beneficence enough? Not at all. Ethical action demands that you also watch out for harming others by mistake or side effects. Thus, the next criterion is that of non-maleficence. Next, there's fairness. Do we treat everyone the same? Do all, regardless of race, gender, education, or other characteristics, benefit from our choices? And even if people benefit and are treated fairly, is it possible that the way we obtain information about them breach their trust? Another criterion is autonomy. Will our choices to use data in a certain way prevent people from doing something? Do we limit their choices? Finally, in judging the situation, how do we combine these concerns in such a way as not to paralyze our will to action? If we decide that only the highest level of autonomy, trust, beneficence, fairness, and non-maleficence is acceptable, we might never be able to figure out a way to use data for public good. Let us return to our example. While Alina's and Marcus's intentions were beneficent, animals and humans should interact as little as possible. The solution chosen, tracking people and divulging their home state or even gender, is not at all non-maleficent or inducive to trust. People feel singled out. Some might even freak out and think they are under constant and unwarranted legal observation and will avoid visiting national parks. Their autonomy will be violated. It might not even be fair if we end up targeting people from certain states more than others. So, how should Alina and Marcus fix this? First of all, they need to make sure that the visitors are aware that the surveillance cameras and video guestbooks will be used to improve the visitor experience. This will be a step toward improving autonomy and trust. Second, in compiling the data and disseminating it, no state of origin or gender should be mentioned. This will ensure fairness and trust. Finally, no funny videos. This is a major violation of fairness since only some of those caught on camera ended up in the public eye. Instead, summary data about the likelihood of being harmed at certain distances or for doing certain things, such as feeding, tossing things at, or stirring up the animals, should be mapped. Now, this is an ethical story which preserves the trust, encourages sharing of information, and is beneficent to all.